Today, on the early morning show, all of us had that brother or sister we couldn't stand, all the way to adulthood. Let's cue the rooster and get this show started.
Every time I need that shit, devil make another.
Hey man, if you got something that you believe in and you believe that you can do it and nobody else do, just go for it. It's your life.
My life is moving fast, I gotta slow it down. Yeah, now I got it, they all come around. But when I ain't have it, they nowhere to be found. Yeah, I had to stick with the ones who stay down. And now a lot of people say I changed on them, because I'm whipping in the range on them. I don't think I'm acting different, I just found out that these folks ain't in my interest. And you ain't got a lot of kick it. I messed around and pulled a whole foe up. Banging zero, I roll up. I don't do it, boy, you gotta grow up. My mom's scared to believe.
Today we're talking about family members you love to hate. I mean, these people piss you off. That's all I can say. Do you have a brother or sister who has absolutely driven you crazy since childhood? Do you? I mean, this person was a little tyrant in your life when you were a child. I don't care if they were your brother or your sister, whether it was your niece or nephew. They might have started fights with you just as soon as your parents pulled right out of the driveway going to work. Or maybe they competed with you at every turn, trying to undermine you. Everything you set out to do in life, they tried to upstage you. And those people might be doing the very same thing today. Good morning, and welcome to the Early Morning Show. All of us have had that someone in our lives that if we didn't see them again, like Les Brown said, it will be too soon, right? You don't want to see them. It will be a happy day. Now, some of you out there listening to me now still have to deal with this particular person for the sake of the family or your connection to that said family. But you don't want to do it. But they call you up all the time. You'll get your call ID and say, oh, it's this person. And you will forego that call. I was out of town. I didn't get your call. But you had the phone with you, right? Now, some of us don't necessarily have to see these persons until our parents' funeral. Or there is a big event like a family reunion. You coming to the family reunion? Hell no. I don't want to deal with you people. I might hurt somebody. Okay? If you buried your parents, that next day you would never go home again, right? Now, other viewers have grown so tired of a relationship with this person that they have moved to the other side of the country. Or maybe they moved to the other side of the world just to avoid them in another country. I can't even deal with you. So, all the time we have stories of people who couldn't get a shiny nickel if they needed it or something to eat from their own kin. My grandfather saying, when you're children, your family, and when you're adults, your relations. So you're related to the person to the grave, but they may be all you have. But these same people would have no problem mortgaging their homes to give an interest-free loan to their best friend, or friends plural, instead of you. Now, I know I have them in my family. You know, I will survive the financial damage and effects of this pandemic crisis this time. But I know I was sucking during the last Great Recession with nowhere to turn, and I'll tell you more about that at the end of my commentary. Because I've been there. You know, I'm not as messed up this time, but last time, 2008, I was out. So, some people find themselves in trouble today in a pandemic economy, like I said, with no money and nowhere else to turn but the streets. And they would actually prefer it that way over asking one family member for one little shiny penny. It'd be like pulling teeth. I wish I had it, I would give it to you. No, you would never give it to them, right? Why? Because they know if they really needed the money, they couldn't get it even if their sibling was rich. They wouldn't give it to them. They know the best place for help would be the government, like this checks they're writing right now, or a soup kitchen, or dealing with a soup Nazi. That'd be even more preferable than dealing with your own family member. No money for you, right? So I believe a lot of people woke up shocked to the fact that an economy that stopped on a dime revealed how unattached that they really from their own family unit. So if you're dealing with this type of pandemic economy and you're suffering right now, that's a global suffrage. That ain't just happening to you. So we want to know what your story is. This is your time to rant about that family. Hey, maybe we got it all wrong. And your brother or sister is the nicest person in the world. Maybe your brother is nice as a Dalai Lama. And your sister, she's probably sweeter than Mother Teresa. Hey, my bad, right? But let us know in the comments section below. And be sure to rate this video. But do you oftentimes secretly wish that you were adopted? At least you can explain the difference between you and your kin. I know when I was a kid, you wish you could. But let me tell you what happened to me in the last recession. It's something to be up way high. And I mean, I was way up high. I'm not even going to discuss how much money I made each month, but it was way high. And then you get down to nothing. So whatever you're going through right now in this COVID economy, I was there. I've been there. If you get evicted, I got it. If you had to go to a shelter, I did it. If you had to be homeless, it happened to me. And I'll tell you, at the time, before the last Great Recession, and I lost my business, which was a large business, I had an income that I would take home. It was roughly $30,000 a month. And that's not even a brag. But it went from that to zero. Okay? When you lose a business, it goes zero. If you got a job, a nice job, you lose that, it goes zero. If you got a bad job, you lose that, it goes to zero. And so does the help and support from those so-called family members. Sometimes you have a friend, what does the Bible say? The friend sticking close to a brother. That is real. It's just straight up real. You couldn't even sleep on your own couch with your brother or sister. They will let you in home. Your friend let you stay there rent-free until you get yourself back on your feet again. So sometimes we have better adoptive families than we do actual families. And so I know it's a lot of great stories out there. I won't go on anymore. I get off my soapbox. Make sure you give me your stories. Vent that crap off your system. If you're out there suffering now and you're not close to your kin like you were when you was a kid, let us know. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. Especially the man's bartender is next. About to get a drink on. We'll be back in just a minute. Hey guys, welcome. Today I'm bringing you my book, Lucid. The power to alter your future by facing your past. So a lot of people have a problem after the New Year's with low motivation, and you make a New Year's resolution, but you wonder why you can't carry it. Why I can't carry it past the first week of January? Because you can't put new ideas into an old brain that refuses to accept them. So you have to change your mind. You're renewing your mind once a year, right? And so I wrote this book a couple years back, but it's still relevant everywhere you go today. So I would suggest you go to Amazon.com to pick it up. And there's also the audio version of that book. It's great. And it'll tell you things like you go through life either frightful or you go through life fearless. You know, those are two stages people go through life. And you go through your whole life this particular way. It tells you things about how stop shrinking from stress. You know, when stress happens, don't go running. It'll show you different meditation routines that you can do to keep yourself up in the worst environments while you stay in an environment. I always believe that you can fix yourself in an environment instead of running away from an environment to fix yourself. Okay? So remember, the links will be in the description. Go to Amazon.com, pick up the book Lucid by me, Charles Rivers. And if not, take a listen to the audio version. Because a lot of times you're driving in a car if you're at home, some people get motivated with the audio version. Okay? Love you guys. Let me return you to the programming. It's 5 o'clock on a planet somewhere, and we're about to get our drink on. Welcome to the Man's Bartender. Today on the Man's Bartender, we're making whipped coffee spiked with vodka. Stick around. What's up, fellas, and welcome to the Man's Bartender. Today we're going to do what? Spiked whipped coffee. Now we're going to use a cappuccino. We're also going to use Pinnacle vodka. That's a good brand for this one. Like I said, we're going to use a cappuccino. To sweeten it, we're going to use what's called simple syrup. You get that at any grocery store. Hopefully. And we're going to use some Cool Whip, just like when you was a kid, way back when. Now we have a barrel shaker today, of course, and in the barrel shaker I've already filled it with ice. See, just a little bit at the bottom. I'd say about 1/4 for that one. So the first thing we want to do, we always want to add, in these cases, the alcohol. So we're going to use about 4 ounces. 4 ounces. All right. That's 2. 2. Hopefully that's 4. I dropped out of 2nd grade. Yeah, that's 4. Okay. Now that's good. Then we want to go ahead and add the simple syrup in there. Now that simple syrup is roughly about a cup of simple syrup. If you don't have simple syrup, just get yourself some sugar, stir it in water. Simple syrup is about the same thing, except it's been cooked. Now at this time, I'm going to go ahead and add the cappuccino. That cappuccino is about a cup of cappuccino. That's what all you need is about a cup. At this point, I'm going to add the Cool Whip. And maybe a couple of dollops in there. This gives the cappuccino its creamy taste. And you will love it. Scooch just like ice cream, right? They go right in there, let go. You ever notice that stuff like cream never wants to let go? One more scoop. Nice round one there. Let go. Okay. And it's shaking time. Hey, put the lid on top of the thing and it's all the shaking. Come around outside, it's shaking time. Now all you need is a common mug, like a coffee mug. Nothing special. Now what we could do in the end, you could actually put another dollop of that Cool Whip on top of that mug after we put the coffee in there. But there's a possibility that might sink down to the bottom. So a better plan would be to take some whipped cream in a can. Some people don't like the whipped cream because it's made partially out of oil. But it is better. But if you like the ice cream effect, the Cool Whip, brother, put that right down in there. Alright, so we're doing it about a minute. We want that cappuccino and that Cool Whip to mix up. I hope you guys had a great New Year's already. Haven't gotten any trouble so far. Alright, let's see what we got. Look at that. Perfect. We'll even take some of that. I don't mind to sink it to the bottom. Do you? Boop. Make sure you get a good ice cream dollop. Just like you asked your mother as a kid, hey, get us some more Cool Whip. No, boy, you're going to get sick. You're going to take the spoon. When you got your guests coming over, hey, what better way to show off? Put a bit of cocoa on top of that. There you have it. A little touch of heaven. Ooh. We'll be back in a minute, guys. Stick with us. Don't go nowhere. We got a great show today. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and polish this off. See if I can get the alcohol out of this chop. We'll be right back. I hope to see you back next time on The Man's Bartender. Join me each week, and we're going to be making some great drinks, some crazy drinks, and stuff that you can prepare for your friends at a party where it looks like you've been a bartender for a long time. Thank you for watching A&M. Today, on The Man's Kitchen, we're making creamy tomato chicken. It's a little bit more than just frying up a chicken. You'll love it. Come join us. Hey guys, welcome to The Man's Kitchen. Today we're making creamy tomato chicken. Come on, let's do it. Okay, so For this recipe, you're going to need some chicken, and I've already browned some chicken because that's how we're going to start. Those are nice chicken breasts, farm raised. Now, that's the oil that it came out of, so we won't get rid of that. We'll need that. We're going to need some cayenne pepper, some Hunt's pre-roasted diced tomatoes. We'll use the Hunt's tomato paste. You can use another company. You don't have to use that one. We're going to use some heavy cream, Parmesan cheese. Make sure you get the best. We're going to use some parsley and I'm going to use some garlic. I got like 2 cloves of garlic there. You're going to mix those up. And finally, we're going to finish off by adding some kale in there. Okay, so the chicken has browned. You don't have to see me brown chicken because you've seen chicken brown before. So we're going to turn that to a certain heat. We left that oil in there because I need that. And to that, I'm going to add tomato paste. To put the tomato paste in there first. I turn that oil down. It doesn't have to polish me with my clothing. Let's put the tomato paste in there. And tomato paste is nothing but the puree of tomatoes without all of the juice to it. Okay. And there we have it. Okay, put that to the side. To that tomato paste, we can go ahead and add the cayenne pepper. And we need about 1/4 teaspoon, no more than that. And some people can't stand a lot of cayenne. Doesn't bother me, but if it bothers you, that's enough. Okay, to that we're also going to add the crushed tomatoes. So be careful of the oil. We'll add the crushed tomatoes in there. And we'll go ahead and add the garlic. Go ahead and add the parsley. You ever notice that most Italian foods always incorporate the colors of the Italian flag? Okay. So that's doing pretty good so far. Now I can turn it almost up to a medium heat. So what we're going to do is we're going to make that sauce at a certain point. Then we're going to add the milk to it, and we're going to add the Parmesan cheese to it. And then we'll be able to add the kale to it. And then when that kale finally wilts, we'll be able to add the chicken back to it and let that stew for a while until everything is done. Okay, so now you can see that the tomatoes are up a little bit higher there. Looking for something like a medium heat. We're not trying to burn it, we're just trying to get it incorporated. And you can see where that oil comes into play. One thing about it, tomato paste is always a thickener for a sauce, but you need the tomatoes in there to thin out that thickness. Don't forget to check out our new episode of Killer Wives this week. It is a doozy. And tomorrow, don't forget to check out an episode of The Early Morning Show. Okay, so remember, we browned the chicken. That's the chicken. You brown that first, you set that to the side. That's already done. From that oil and cracklings, you leave that in the pan. And to that, you're going to add the tomato paste, the garlic, cayenne pepper, the crushed tomatoes, and you let that simmer. Okay? So we don't want it to boil, we want it to simmer. Then to that, we're going to go ahead and add that heavy cream. And then we're going to add the Parmesan cheese. We can put a bunch of it in there. Because this is a nice, creamy mixture. So you don't want to be cheap. It's almost like making a heavy pizza. Alright. You see how it changes colors? Okay, turn it up a little bit. And when you're doing something like a sauce like that, you don't want to burn it. You want it to come along gradually. So you have to modulate the heat up or down, up or down. Now we go ahead and add the kale to it. Now that kale has been washed off. So if you never had kale greens before, I suggest you give them a try. Now that kale will wilt down. So you don't have to worry about that. That's not as if that's too much. Kale always wilts down. Most greens do wilt down. But kale is a part of that dish. So I go ahead and clean off my spoon with the kale. So just give it a minute. You know, I can actually also put a lid on that. And that will help it wilt that much faster. Just give it a little bit. Okay, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and let you guys go, and through the magic of TV, we'll come back when the kale wilts to add the chicken. We'll make it happen. See you in a minute. If you want the best tasting chicken, I suggest you go free range. Free range chicken gets enough exercise, which keeps all levels within the chicken, and therefore, they're less tough. We'll see you back. Okay, we're back, and through the magic of TV, the kale's wilted. Look at that. Okay, so what we want to do at this point is we want to add that chicken back in there. And these are 3 great pieces of chicken breast. I'm going to put those down in there a little bit. Like that. Now you can see how it's shaping up to be a great dish. We're going to go ahead and let that continue to simmer, probably about another 20 minutes, and we'll be right back so we can eat it. Don't go nowhere. We're back, and everything is done. Come take a look at it. Look at that. Look how beautiful that looks. Look at that. Look at it. Smell it? Okay. So now what we want to do is give you guys an example of today, because actually this is going to be for later on. I'm going to have some grits with that later on. But for right now, let's see how she tastes. Creamy tomato chicken. Here, see you guys. One beautiful dish. Flavor of that free range chicken. The Parmesan, tomato sauce, tomato paste, the garlic. The ingredients want to scream. Make sure you guys go out to get it. Treat yourself today. We'll see you again tomorrow. Hey guys, welcome to this week's Assault on Manhood. Now, we bring you a story today that is crazy and out there. A woman who fatally stabbed her husband at Johns Hopkins Hospital gets maximum sentence in Baltimore. So from Baltimore, according to the office of the state's attorney for Baltimore City, Anita Nicole Jones was handed down the maximum sentence of 13 years to the Maryland Division of Corrections for the October 2017 fatal stabbing of her own husband. Now, always easy on assault of manhood cases. Females do it to their kin, not as much to strangers. That's why people don't see it really in the news. But they do. So we're talking about October 13, 2017. Baltimore City Police Department officers, they responded to Johns Hopkins Bloomberg Building number 9 North for initial reports of a suicide. So initially they thought that the guy had committed suicide right there in the hospital. Preliminary investigation revealed that Anita Nicole Jones, her name, along with the victim identified as Jones' husband, Christopher Yancey, Sr., were inside an intensive care unit hospital room on the floor with the door to the room shut. So why were they there at the hospital? Because they were being treated? Nope, their child was. So, per witness accounts, no one else was inside of that room at the time. Nor were any disturbances heard or movements observed coming from that room. So, but the door was closed. But both Jones and Yancey were reportedly present at Johns Hopkins Hospital because one of their children was undergoing an emergency operation. So, how do you have a child going through an emergency procedure, and while they're out under anesthesia, your mother stabs your father, and not only that, kills him? So, at approximately 12:47 p.m., Jones was observed running out of the hospital room, yelling to the hospital personnel that the victim or her husband had cut himself. Right? She didn't stab him, he cut himself. But look how strange it sounds. So hospital personnel immediately activated a medical code alert and responded inside the room. They found Yancey on the floor unresponsive from 2 apparent stab wounds in his neck. So he cut himself deep in the neck. Don't buy it. You see, despite medical intervention, Yancey succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced deceased right there in hospital. How do you go to a hospital, have your kid get surgery, and you come out of it in a casket? So pursuant to the investigation, Jones herself made a statement to the hospital personnel that she did not actually see her husband Yancey injured or cut himself. She said initially that she recanted. But however, witness accounts noted seeing blood on her hands and her clothing. So you get the splatter effect on your hands and on your clothing. But she said he cut himself. So Jones repeated similar statements to family members responding to the hospital that Yancey, her husband, had cut himself. But video footage later obtained from Johns Hopkins security captured Jones or his wife walking outside of the hospital within minutes after that medical code alert was announced. So while it's going off overhead, she ran to get him. They announced they need everybody in the room to help him. The camera watched her go outside, and Jones, his wife, was captured on video walking to a garbage can located on Orleans Street, reached into her pocket, and she deposited inside that trash can an unknown object of garbage. The police believe that it was a knife, the knife she used to stab him with. Now, most unfortunate, the video was discovered shortly after the trash can had been emptied. So she didn't know enough not to get caught. Okay, you got a guy's dead body right there, and she doesn't want to go to jail, but she doesn't mind if he does. Now, additionally, detectives were able to identify and recover a recorded jail call placed to Jones' cell phone from an inmate at a correctional institute within 14 minutes before the code alert was activated. So way before the code alert was activated, before she ran out of the room, she got a call from somebody in prison talking to her. That's the kind of people your wife knows. Jones was recorded on the telephone ranting for nearly 13 minutes about her frustrations with her husband Yancey, and stated at one point in the call that she was going to really going to hurt him. So I'm going to hurt him. So she gave herself up. I bet she didn't think they was going to check those phone calls though. So it is my hope in this sentence will bring some closure to Christopher Yancey's family, and that Anita Jones will use her incarcerated time to reflect and grow from the horrific choices she made that day. And this was from the state's Attorney General, Marilyn Mosby of Baltimore. Those were her words, not mine. So A Baltimore City jury returned a guilty verdict after the trial on January 9th, 2020. So it always takes that long for a trial, especially with this COVID, because you have to build up a case. But they convicted Jones of manslaughter and carrying a dangerous weapon openly with intent to injure. Should have been an intent to kill. So, the Assistant State's Attorney Adam Lane Charger prosecuted this case. He says that she actually got what she deserved. Now, let me give you my little 2 cents worth on this case. It's probably close to the ravings you hear from me on our program, Killer Wives, all the time. But that the women that do this to the men they promise to love, honor, and cherish simply doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. In each one of these cases, these women know that they are in trouble for the deed. And they try to concoct a story that their husband always he hurt himself. When it's the poison stories, he poisoned himself. The shooting stories, he shot himself. The stabbing stories, I guess he stabbed himself. But if you know anything about psychology, if you know anything about the human threshold for pain, the human psyche, as much as it wants to end its misery, won't really allow you to injure yourself. That's why people use guns. They don't use knives to kill themselves. And especially not twice in the neck. You see? The second thing that wives do, as if it were a mandate for being a wife, is by besmirching their husband's character, as in he cut himself. So that's deviant behavior. My husband's a piece of shit. Yeah, he cuts himself and he goes visit prostitutes. No, she besmirches his character. And a dead man can't talk. But these wives honestly hope you believe that men are so negative that whatever they say about them is easily believable. And we've been going that way a long time, at least 50 years with this type of mentality. This man was in a hospital, and they still couldn't save him because she stabbed him with such malice that it cut the main artery to his head and heart. And furthermore, I would not be surprised if she didn't wait until he was expired or dead to go screaming for help. Yep. Love, honor, cherish, kill. It was all there when the Reverend said it. We'll be back tomorrow, but make sure you watch after this Killer Wives episode 10. We've got episodes to go out to 100 different episodes from now. So these cases go out in the thousands, hundreds of thousands easily. Because when we do cases, we do them globally. So if you're out there, you think that maybe a few women did something bad, hundreds of thousands. I'm pretty sure it's millions. By the time we finish, it will be. We thank you guys. See you again soon. Here's your preview for Killer Wives, Episode 10. And now we bring you Killer Wives, Episode 10, Antifreeze. These are the case facts against Lynn Turner, who poisoned her husband, and her boyfriend. Isn't trust a bitch? Atlanta, Georgia. Residents of famed Elton John and Cardi B, but also famous for the death of Maurice Turner and Randy Thomas by one woman.
Positive Central. 19 Sergeant. You have a callback for 86 into Central? Negative K, nothing further. Just see the cabbie on the corner.
I care less about what you think of me and more about what I think of me. Abundance coming easily, I'm tapped into that frequency. What you think of me ain't none of my business. What you think of me ain't none of my. What I spark don't get you lit, so why you give a shit? Talking out your ass, we revoke your membership. Falling off the cliff, hope you niggas get a grip. It's enough to go around if you tune into the sounds. Tap into the universal laws to get it all. You already have it in you, but you hold it and you stall. We ain't gotta die to see heaven, we can live it. If you want something, gotta be willing to give it. Not for the return, purely for the feeling. Take some time to get a line of structures that we building. Expansion we increase cause we have to. Thank God every day, and your mama cause she had you. She really didn't have to.